It's the Bradenton Blitz, and this is Jason Dill, and I'm joined as always by David Wilson. Varsity 24/7 is our sports app. Bradenton.com/sports is the website to go to get all your latest and greatest news from the high school sports scene. We're here to talk about National Signing Day. We talked about it last week, but it's actually come here to Manatee County, and we had some signings. I was at Braden River High School and IMG Academy during Wednesday morning's signing day period. You were at Palmetto High School and Lakewood Ranch High School. What was the big surprise, if there were any, from the schools that you were at? Was there any surprises?
No, not really. I mean, every one of those schools had kind of been committed at least for a couple days. As far as Division I guys go, Octavius James committed to Savannah State last week. Trevor Losada at Lakewood Ranch, the wide receiver, committed to Carson Newman last week, so that was already set in stone. It was just, I guess, kind of an opportunity to honor all these kids.
Sure. Well, where I was at, Braden River, there were no surprises. Everybody that committed late or anything, they ended up signing where they said they were going to sign. Except for at IMG, there was one guy who wasn't present from football because they had 12 guys that early enrolled, which is insane amount of guys. But they had another 7 guys that were planning on signing today, and one of them was Shavar Manuel, who wasn't present for the signing day ceremony. But he's the latest, talking about flipping. He went from the University of Florida and choosing Florida State, which is a huge coup for the Seminoles, and it's a big slap in the face to a in-state rival too. So that was a big surprise. And of course, as we know, Cavius Price was uncommitted, undecided, I guess, going into it for Manatee High School, and that was a big surprise too, where he was going to go. He was obviously leaning toward Kent State, and that's who he ended up choosing. Alan Dell, our colleague, has the story on that.
Yeah, he picked up a late USF offer last night. It looks like he tweeted about it last night, but Kent State had been kind of emerged as the front runner for him. Dre Archer, who
that's a perfect blueprint.
Perfect kind of comparison for kids.
Now, Archer got cut.
Undersized, fast.
Yeah, now Archer did get cut by the Steelers this year, but I mean, here's a guy
who made it to the NFL.
He made it to the NFL no matter what, and that's basically the point that
was an All-American, I believe, at Kent State as a return specialist.
Right, and it's surprising because USF has a coaching staff comprised of Willie Taggart, former Manatee High quarterback, Joe Canan, former legendary Manatee High football coach who won a bunch of state titles for him, and Raymond Woody, who was the head coach at Palmetto High School for a long time and ended up leaving there to go with Willie when they started up at Western Kentucky, and now they're on the coaching staff together at USF. So it's kind of surprising with all those guys that have connections and ties to Manatee County how they weren't in on Cavius Price a lot earlier. And if I had to venture, and I don't know if this is true or not, but if I had to make a guess, I would have said that Cavius Price probably may have decided to stay at home locally at USF had the Bulls gone after him a lot sooner. But getting to him so late, I don't think there was much room or contemplation from Cavius to choose them over a school like Kent State, which kind of was showing a lot of interest a lot for most of the time.
Yeah, as far as USF goes, I mean, they didn't dig much into this area, which is a little surprising. Obviously, they offered Jack Allison. Everyone offered Jack Allison. They offered Nick Null, the kicker at Manatee, who ended up choosing Cornell, and then the late offer to Cavius Price. I think we kind of, they go down into Sarasota, into Charlotte County also. The running back from Charlotte High is going to
Elijah Mack.
Yeah, Elijah Mack. So they definitely go into this area a little bit, but for whatever reason, this county specifically, they weren't making a ton of inroads for the class of 2016.
It's kind of part celebratory, but it's also part spectacle too when you think about it with signing day. I mean, there's all this pomp and circumstance that goes into it, and at the end of the day, this isn't the end of it. There's still plenty of time to sign for kids after this day. And it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to any of these schools either, because you still have to graduate and still have to get minimum requirements to qualify to move on to the next level. And even when you get there, there's no guarantee you're going to be playing either, which, I know a lot of kids, one of the things that drew JoJo Lewis, for instance, is he was telling me today with Florida International when I was over at Braden River that, look, they don't expect him to redshirt at all. They want him to come in and play right away, which is huge for somebody. It's like, okay, I'm good. Let's go play.
The same situation with David Belvin. Palmetto's committed to FAU. Told me today that he thinks he'll have a chance to start right away. FAU didn't have the most successful season last year. Took Florida to overtime though, which he said he liked a lot to see. He likes how young the defense is and the chance to play early.
It's kind of
appealing.
I almost feel like it's kind of easy to do that against a team that failed to score a lot of
Well,
points
yeah,
during the year.
all you need is 10.
Right, exactly. But it wasn't just football, though. There were a lot of soccer signings.
Right.
At IMG specifically, they had a total of 32 kids when you count the 12 early enrollees that they were celebrating. And two of those soccer players, Christian Wammeldorf and Rebecca Liebrandt, are both Bradenton kids. With Liebrandt, she attended Manatee High School before she went to IMG. With Wammeldorf, he was strictly an IMG kid for all of his high school years. But they're both from Bradenton. That kind of highlight, going to different schools like Wofford and West Virginia and University of Louisville, Notre Dame, Barry University. No matter what sport it is, football, football or soccer, a lot of kids getting a lot of their future laid out for them with whatever the scholarship offers were.
Yeah, a couple other from where I was soccer players. Nicole Worster for Lakewood Ranch, signed with Gardner Webb today. She said it kind of became something that happened over the last month. And Ben Espinal at Palmetto, who will head to USF. I haven't been able to check this yet, but Dustin Dahlquist, the former coach over at Palmetto, said right now USF is the number 3 recruiting class in the country. They're a perennial power, so a chance for a local kid to go play for a local team.
Right, and in both of those cases, Espinal didn't play a whole lot this year because of club soccer, and with Nicole Worster, she's part of a group of several kids from not just Lakewood Ranch High School, but Manatee High School, Venice High School with Emily Dalton, who's a highly rated striker and was a key reason last year why Lakewood Ranch was bounced from the playoffs in the second round, and Venice went to a state semifinal berth. But all of those kids, they all end up playing for George Amaris, who's the head coach at Manatee High School, in the club ranks at Bradenton River Soccer Club for the under-18 Rage team. So that's pretty much where a lot of these kids for soccer get their looks for colleges, is at the club level. The high school season is just kind of an extension of the club season. Right. So whereas football, totally different sport, and where we're seeing a lot of kids get their looks from what they're doing on the field during their football season. And in the case, like we mentioned last week, Ryan Newsel picked up 12 offers in the span of a month and a half, mainly because of the strong senior season he had. And the culture's kind of changing, Bradenton River didn't have college coaches coming around when all these kids were freshmen going 1-9. They're 13-1 at the end of the year after losing the state semifinals to State Thomas Aquinas. And all of a sudden they got 50 coaches there, throughout the whole season. So it's a totally different culture change, and I think that's the foundation that the freshman class that we're getting, honored today has something to look back on and be like, look, we actually have the blueprint, and we laid out the foundation for the kids to follow us, which, we'll have to wait and see who else decides to come. Oh, and one other name that we forgot to mention is Quanzi Jackson signing with Alcorn State, former Manatee High player who had to leave the team earlier in the year. And Alcorn State, he was obviously originally committed to playing at Tulane, but when he didn't play the rest of the year, that probably lowered his stock a little bit. So thoughts on Quanzi getting a chance to play at the next level?
I mean, it's just still a Division I opportunity. I mean, obviously, everyone wants to go play for the big power programs, but I mean, Alcorn State, again, that's Division I. That's a chance to play against top tier competition.
And honestly, I always feel like when it comes to signing day, it's not about where you play at all, because if you're good enough, they're going to find you. You're going to play in the pros. Dree Archer is a perfect example of that. There's plenty of guys. Jerry Rice played at, didn't play at the Division 1A powerhouse program, and he's considered the greatest wide receiver of all time.
It's about fit on signing day.
Exactly. And on top of it, you got to really love the school, because at the end of the day, injuries can happen at a blink of an eye. Not that you wish for any of that stuff to happen, but things can change. Coaching staffs can change. Plenty of times that can happen, so you have to be willing and really committed to the school that you're going to and be happy with that, because if football doesn't work out, you have that to back up on. So this is another fun, long day at National Signing Day, but here at the Bradenton Blitz, we're pleased to let you know about Varsity 24/7. It's our sports app. Bradenton.com/sports is the website, so you can check out all the signing day stories and everything else that's going on in town. And for David Wilson, this is Jason Dill. Until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.